everyone. We are streaming here live from Glynn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Thrift Behringer alongside Richie Rich Holdridge. Richard, what a fantastic night of high school football around this area.
You know, when I woke up this morning, I had to pinch myself because not only were, the game that I call was absolutely fantastic. We had two other games that were one-possession games, went down to the last minute. What an incredible night of high school football in the Chattahoochee Valley. And I can't believe that we get to call games because I don't think that night could have been topped. It was incredible.
Yeah, well, we're going to energize ourselves here because obviously it was just a long night last night, but we're thankful for our partners, Glynn Smith Chevrolet and GMC, for being a presenting sponsor of everything that we do, every stream that we cover, every show. It is presented by Glynn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Thank you so much for all the ultimate car or truck buying experience. Come to Opelika. This is the place to be. And also want to say thank you, as you see, to our other presenting sponsor, Pepsi and Buffalo Rock. Thank you all for everything that you have done for us and allowing us to go and cover these games that we do. All our sponsors have been an integral part of helping grow our brand and doing what we love to do.
Yeah, it's truly great. We have these incredible partnerships as a Georgia Alabama Sports Live just continues grinding and calling these games and really just covering these student athletes. And it's just an incredible night once again. And I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about it either. All right, so we want to say thank you to the ADs last night that allowed us to come up there and stream. We had excellent games. We got scores that we'll be going through, but we're going to start with the game of the night last night. And I want to say thank you to DJ Jones and Sports Visions. Remember, we're in an umbrella, under their umbrella, and we appreciate him believing in what we.
The 1-0 Carver Tigers taking on the 1-0 Spencer Green Waves. We are presented by Glynn Smith Chevrolet and GMC and Pepsi. Thank you for their proud sponsorship of what we do here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
And they came up with rebranding this.
Long time. Brinson Buckner was also on the show. Vincent Bell. And then we even had special guest speaker from Hardaway, Kendall Mills. What a fabulous high school game day in the thick of the tailgate of the Heritage Bowl.
Yeah, I like that we were in the thick of the tailgate. You had some barbecue to our right, and they were offering some barbecue. I mean, they were just celebrating, having a great time. And it's not just about the game. It's about the event of the Heritage Bowl. It brings people together, and what a great event for the community. And really, A.J. McClung, I'm glad that it was there because that's the venue, perfect venue for the Heritage Bowl.
All right, we'll start with the game. And last night, I thought that the game was one of the more entertaining and competitive games in the last – I've done 4 straight Heritage Bowls, a couple on the radio last year and the last 2 on streaming. And usually they've been blowouts and they've been over by halftime. Spencer stuck with it.
Yeah.
Sloppy play from, honestly, both teams. Some bad throws from Matthew Mungden, even though he started settling down. The running backs, though, of Tarver and Mabry, who was the All-State, Alex Quinney All-State Good Hands Player of the game last night. They have stars.
They do.
But there were a lot of mistakes, a lot of flags, a couple of turnovers that either derailed Carver from just putting this game away early, and it also derailed Spencer from winning the game. They got stopped on 4th and goal at the half-yard line, and then Carver goes down 99 yards for a touchdown. It was 9-3. And then Spencer gets stopped. Carver goes down. They go up 17-3. And they end up winning 17-9. Spencer had a chance on 4th down with 2 minutes to go, was not able to complete it to get the first down, and Carver just came up victorious. But 2 things I took away from it. 1, Spencer can hang with anyone, and they will be in the thick of this region. Now that they're in the same region as Carver, this loss is probably going to hurt them when it comes to the final standings. And 2, I think Carver has more talent than anybody aside from Central. But there are things that I know Coach Pierre Coffey, defensively, they're great. Offensively, they need to stir up some stuff because next week they take on Harris County. And those guys from Harris County have been bullying their way to 2-0 here in these first 2 weeks. But a great game of the Heritage Bowl. Congratulations to Carver. I think everything went smoothly. Great job by Columbus PD and all the security people that were there. Good job by all the dignitaries. It was awesome to be up in the press box. Robert Evans was on the PA announcer, a
Nice.
good supporter of ours and a play-by-play and partner of Georgia Alabama Sports Live, but just a lot of fun, Richard.
Yeah, from what I saw on the broadcast, what a great event. I was very impressed with Spencer holding their own, having a chance to win it. And Elijah Fudge taking over for 3-year starter Gary Gaither. I think Spencer's going to be fine in this region. Carver, one player you did mention, Kelston Tarver. I had the privilege of calling him when he was at Russell County. And, he's plugging in, and Coach Pierre Coffey has got a lot of talent on that Carver side of the ball. On the offensive side of the ball, you have receivers like Braylon Jakes. I mean, you have Kelston Tarver at the running back. I think Matthew Mungden is holding his own, being that second-year starter coming in as a junior. I think Carver is going to be fine, but that's going to be a massive game next week. I'm excited. Carver 2-0 going up to face Harris County 2-0.
Yeah, and I can't wait for it either. That is going to be our game of the week.
Of course.
We'll have multiple streams as we always do on Friday nights, but for sure, the headliner next week is Carver taking on Harris County, and the exclusive only place you can watch it live is on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. We'll be live from Danny Durham-Field. I'll be on the call with Rick Beach. We cannot wait for that one. Speaking of the team that Carver's going to be playing, which is Harris County, they beat Troup County for the first time in 3 years, since 2020. That was the last time Harris County won. I was talking with Rick Beach. The offense and defensive line has dominated, led by Bishop Adams. Those guys are bullying their way. First against Manchester, then against Troup County. You picked Troup County to win, and I've changed my mind, but initially I thought Troup County. But Harris County, the way they like to play, they don't like playing high-scoring games. And as you saw, Troup County scores a touchdown right there. They want to keep it low-scoring, between low to mid-20s, and just play ground and pound and good defense. D-Rock Brooks, the defensive coordinator for Harris County, has been one of the best defensive minds in our area. And what I saw last night to win against a really good Troup County team, that Tanner Gliss's team always is competitive, and they're going to be good this year in 3A. I cannot wait to see what Harris County's got in store for us. Anybody that thought they were losing, Yeoman and Watson, Levi Watson, guess what? They're just reloading, and Tommy has built his team exactly the way he wants it. As you see the touchdown catch from Troup County here just a few moments ago, but what an incredible night for Harris County. Back-to-back rivals and now the last county that borders Harris County is Muskogee County, and the top team in Muskogee County is Carver. So they're going to beat Manchester, Troup County. If they beat Carver, put Harris County in top 5 as a team that can win a state championship this year. How about that?
Well, there's no question about that. And getting to play Carver next week, it's going to be like the battles from 2013 when you had Taquan Marshall go up against Puma Pass. I actually love this rivalry that Harris County has, and there's just something about the county, that atmosphere. Rick Beach from Kutsu Sports does a phenomenal job promoting the county, the fan base. I actually was watching the live stream on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, and it was a packed house like it always is. But you have the border county, Troup County, they have their fans up in LaGrange that are going to come down and support the Troup County Tigers. And I admit, Thrift, I picked Troup County in this game because what I saw against Villa Rica in week 1.
Same thing.
I thought that Troup County was going to be a state championship contender in 3A.
And they can still be, because
I
Harris
still
County's
think so
a good
too.
team.
Yeah, I still think so. But this Harris County team, remember last year, that Sandy Creek win really solidified Harris County as a program. I think that this has been a statement win for Harris County. They beat a rival, first time since 2020.
Yep.
And now they get to play Carver. And again, I just so excited about this game. And we get to live stream it on Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
And the final game of the night, which was probably the game of the night, and I was actually jealous as I was watching what was a fantastic call by you and Mike Peacock, Glenwood and Valley. It didn't start that way, because when I was tuning in towards the end of the Spencer Carver, and I was trying to keep up with scores, and I was looking at Harris County, Troup County, that was a good game. Carver Spencer was a good game, and it was 20-0. Valley was just giving Glenwood the business. Richard, I'll let you start here first because you were there for what was an amazing comeback and welcoming for the Glenwood Gators in the AHSAA.
Yeah, it was a historic night for the Glenwood Gators, first football game in the AHSAA, and the first play of the game, it took 11 seconds, but Valley returns the kickoff for a touchdown. And people aren't even in their seats yet, and Valley's already up 7-0. Now, Glenwood's defense, I got to tell you, I was impressed with the Glenwood defense. They had some stops. They did a good job controlling the run at times, but then the running backs for Valley did get open on big plays. Valley up 20-0. I mean, they had some opportunities to close this game out. I think the turning point of this game is that Glenwood got the touchdown. And by the way, the touchdown to Cal Lawrence, it looked like it was simultaneous possession with Cal Lawrence and the DB, which was one of the plays on WRBL for play of the game.
Yep.
That made it 20-7. Then Glenwood gets a stop. The punter for Valley had his knee down, and so the ref calls them down in Glenwood territory. And, you know, I'm thinking Glenwood scores a touchdown. They're down 20-14. Glenwood's going to get the ball to start the second half. But they had a long drive, and then the running back, Brown, fumbled out of the end zone. There were miscues on both sides. But that Glenwood defense stopped Valley when it mattered the most. Glenwood does get a touchdown to go up 21-20, but they had to hold on for dear life. The last 6 minutes of the game, I thought Valley was going to go down and score a touchdown. They had some penalties that actually negated touchdowns. I think that Valley being a 5A school in the AHSAA, Glenwood is here to stay. They have made a statement in the AHSAA. I believe they're going to be competitive. What a night. This was an incredible win for the Glenwood Gators, making their debut in the AHSAA.
Unbelievable. And I was thoroughly impressed with Josh McConnell, the defensive coordinator. You know, they give up the kick return for the touchdown, but then in the second half to not give up 1 point in that game.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable call. And he, again, another guy, just like with D-Rock Brooks, just unbelievable defensive coordinator for the Glenwood Gators. And he, I mean, incredible night, as you made mention. It wasn't looking promising. You know, when you start a new league, you're going to have people that sit there and say, man, I don't know. The detractors are going to say, Glenwood never played anyone. Now they are, and they're getting blown out. To win that game the way they did after being down 20-0, not only a confidence boost for the team, obviously, as they head into the rest of the season, but I feel like against a team that went 7-4 last year in Valley, I know they replaced a lot, but this, with the new transfers they got coming in, I think Coach Nelson and the Gators, I said at the beginning of the season, Noah was thinking 4-6. I said 7-3. And I'm going to stand by that. Again, thoroughly impressed by the Gators as they get a huge win. As you see the highlights that we're showing right now, the defense did not bite for any of the reverses that happened and just made some big-time plays to win. And you and Mike Peacock had that great call at the end of the game. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back from break, we're going to talk more about some of the other games that happened in the air, touch on them a little bit. And then we'll keep talking some college football. And we're also dropping a new show next week. I'll promote that as well. It's Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show from Glynn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. We'll see you right after this.
Now at Glynn Smith GMC in Opelika, the full-size GMC Sierra 4x4 crew cabs discounted up to a giant $15,000 off. GMC Canyons with plenty of power and excellent towing ability, up to $5,000 off. And the roomy and enjoyable compact SUV, the popular GMC Terrains, up to $6,750 off.
Choose from over 500 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way to Glynn Smith in Opelika. Get ready to smile.
Let's go!
Woo! Woo! Yeah! Woo! Football time! Set the tone.
Kyle, tie your shoes, tie your shoes.
Yeah, good job. Woo! Yeah!
Grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild.
Georgia, Alabama. Sports Live will be your go-to for all your favorite high school and collegiate games this fall. From the Carver Tigers to the Columbus Blue Devils, the Harris County Tigers and Northside Patriots, the Glenwood Gators and Calvary Christian Knights, the Pacelli Vikings and Brookstone Cougars to the Smith Station Panthers and Russell County Warriors, from CVCC, Pirates basketball and baseball and every tournament from here to Macon. We are the #1 destination for anything happening in East Alabama and West Central Georgia. Be sure to like and follow us on YouTube and Facebook, and stay tuned for even more amazing ways we will be bringing Georgia-Alabama sports live to you this upcoming season. We can't wait to come see you next.
Welcome back here to the Glynn Smith Chevrolet and GMC showroom. I am Thrift Behringer alongside Richard Holdridge as we are doing the Georgia-Alabama Sports Live show. Had an incredible night of high school football week 2. Week 1 for Alabama teams. And Chris, you can throw up that graphic. We're going to go over some of the scores that had just happened. We were there for that Washington-Hardaway game as Washington won 26-25. That really set the tone for what was an amazing 2 nights of football.
Absolutely.
Shaw beat Smith Station 15-6 to get a big win in the state line showdown. But some of the other games that happened, Valwood, who I told y'all last week, they're 3A defending champion in the GIAA. They beat John Millage, and John Millage had the longest winning streak in Georgia and in the country at the time at 80 games. Beat them in the state championship game, and they come to Brookstone and take care of business 39-21. So I don't think this takes away from Brookstone. I just think Valwood's really good, Richard.
Oh, there's no question about it. Valwood came in, the home opener. Brookstone had a lot of confidence after beating Tatnall in week 1. I still think Brookstone is one of the top teams in the GIAA. I think that Valwood is just having a great season. I think that Valwood is going to win the state championship for 3A again.
Tatnall Square blanks Pacelli, and it's not starting good for the Vikings.
This was a shocker.
This was. I think we both picked Pacelli to win this game.
Yeah.
And Pacelli just young and a little inexperienced, and obviously just not able to put any points on the board. Tatnall, who lost to Brookstone at home last week, able to win the game this week as they win it 27-0. And then Stratford blanks Calvary 56-0. I was talking with some people that at Calvary, and they said there's no way that Calvary is a 8-touchdown underdog to Stratford. Just some things didn't work out, and obviously, it was just like an avalanche. Once that ball started rolling down the hill, it got bigger and bigger, and then it just became insurmountable. But Pacelli and Calvary had tough nights last night.
Yeah, it was a tough night for both schools. I mean, Pacelli, it's not going to get any easier as they take on First Presbyterian Day. Calvary is going to be on the road taking on Mount DeSales. Hopefully they could bounce back and just get some confidence, because you lose a game 56-0, and we know how good Stratford is. I mean, they were in the state championship 2 years ago. I think that Calvary is going to learn from this, and they're going to regroup, and I think they're going to be fine, because I believe in what Coach Emmanuel Brunson is doing at Calvary. I feel they have the quarterback to do it. Nate Osborne is a good thrower of the football. It just wasn't their night. There was just a lot of miscues, and Stratford, which is a dominant team.
Dominant, and they're going to be playing for state championship in 4A. Staying in Georgia, we'll hit on these quickly. Bremen upends Jordan 51-6. Bess beats Kendrick. That was a surprise to both of us. 22-0. And Greenville takes down Columbus 22-16 as that game came down to the wire. Coach Peters trying to get his first win of his head coaching career and not able to against Greenville.
Yeah, Columbus was winning in this game, and Greenville pulls it out at the last minute. Columbus goes on the road to take on Randolph County next week.
In Alabama, Central obliterated Pinson Valley 61-14. And Russell County obliterated Carroll 32-0. As I may mention, Smith Station lost to Shaw in the state line showdown, and Auburn beat a team out of Miami pretty bad as well.
49-0.
Yeah, and it could have been 80-0, to be honest with you. So all three of those teams got basically a tune-up as they have a huge matchups next week as Central welcomes in a team from Missouri and Lutheran North. Russell County is going to take on Eufaula. And then Auburn, I don't know who they play next week, but I'm assuming it's going to be a big team.
Yeah, Eufaula comes up to the Russell County. They actually lost to Booker T. Washington. Eufaula, the same team that went to the Final Four last year. Central is taking on Lutheran North, a team out of Missouri. I mean, I think that Central is going to dominate like they did against Pinson Valley. I mean, they didn't even play their starters in the second half. I was talking to somebody who actually officiated the game, and it was just complete dominance on both sides of the football. Andrew Alford, Dalen Upshaw is his favorite target. He had a couple of touchdowns. And then Coach Nix put in the JV team because the JV season doesn't play. You're allowed to play JV players. So the JV team actually played the second half for Central.
Vestavia Hills is who Auburn will play.
Wow, that is going to be a big matchup.
Vestavia
Vestavia Hills, one of the top teams in 7A.
They were until they got smoked by Carver Montgomery 41-19. Now they're still going to be a good team, but they lost last night. So Auburn taking on Vestavia Hills.
I wouldn't sleep on Carver Montgomery. They're combined with Sidney Lanier, and they went up to 7A.
Well, you see the scores. You can go like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And next week, we got a full slate of softball and volleyball games. Obviously, our coaches shows. We will be at Harris County Carver. That will be the premier game. Now, our other locations still kind of up in the air, and we will have that drop no later than Monday for everybody that wants to know when and where we're going to be on Friday night. And then we're going to start doing our show on Saturday. I know we did it last week around 12. We're doing it this week, around 3. Next week will be early in the morning, around game day time. So make sure to tune in about 10 o'clock because I will be doing it live from Atlanta as I'm going to cover the Georgia-Clemson game for the Chick-fil-A kickoff, myself and DJ Jones. So looking forward to being up there for that. So I'll be live streaming. We'll do it virtual, but it should be a lot of fun. I know you'll be able to throw up some highlights and cannot wait for what should be a great time. We're going to take one more break, and when we come back from break, we'll wrap up and talk some college football. By the way, there's a big game going on right now. It was 21-21 last time I saw. I picked Tech to win that. We'll talk about the new show coming up and some college football on Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
Now at Glynn Smith GMC in Opelika, the full-size GMC Sierra 4x4 crew cabs discounted up to a giant $15,000 off. GMC Canyons with plenty of power and excellent towing ability, up to $5,000 off. And the roomy and enjoyable compact SUV, the popular GMC Terrains, up to $6,750 off.
Choose from over 500 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way to Glynn Smith and Opelika. Get ready to smile.
Georgia, Alabama. Sports Live will be your go-to for all your favorite high school and collegiate games this fall. From the Carver Tigers to the Columbus Blue Devils, the Harris County Tigers and Northside Patriots, the Glenwood Gators and Calvary Christian Knights, the Pacelli Vikings and Brookstone Cougars to the Smith Station Panthers and Russell County Warriors, from CVCC, Pirates basketball and baseball, and every tournament from here to Macon. We are the #1 destination for anything happening in East Alabama and West Central Georgia. Be sure to like and follow us on YouTube and Facebook, and stay tuned for even more amazing ways we will be bringing Georgia Alabama Sports Live to you this upcoming season. We can't wait to come see you next.
Get your grills out this summer with Pepsi, the official beverage of Grills Night Out.
Welcome back, everyone. Thrift Barringer, Richard Holdridge, and we were just talking college football. Guess what?
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech just beat Florida State.
Wow.
And Georgia Tech, I said it, and Georgia Tech's going to be a top 20 team, top 25 team coming in next week's rankings. And Georgia Tech is going to win 8 or 9 games this year. I'm booking that right now. By the way, starting next Wednesday, we got unsolicited hot take on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. I'm going to be giving my hot takes for everything basically national. Anything local will be on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, but more like SEC, college football, NBA, NFL, major, all that stuff we don't have time to talk on the Georgia Alabama Sports Live show, so we're creating
Right.
a new show where I'm going to give a bunch of hot takes. I'm going to have different people come on that show periodically. Richard, you're going to be on the first one. And last time we gave predictions, Richard said Alabama was going 6-6 last year. So that's kind of hot takes you're going to be getting here on Unsolicited Hot Take. But Georgia Tech with a huge win.
Huge.
Brent Key going to Dublin, Ireland, and beating a top 10 overrated Florida State team.
Overrated.
And now you're going to see the memes. You're going to see the people making fun of them. Because guess what? All that crying from last year, even though I know this is a new team, to go lose to Georgia Tech in this fashion. But I'm going to be honest with you. I think Georgia Tech was the better team. And I think Georgia Tech is an underrated team. And Ugalagale that came from Oregon State was at Clemson. I just don't see it, man. He'll not be an NFL prospect. Remember, people thought he was going to be the second coming after Trevor Lawrence in 2020?
They did.
That guy is – he may not be starting midway through this Florida State year.
He's been very overrated. When we saw him when Georgia was playing Clemson, they were both two top 5 teams back in 2021. He goes to Oregon State. Florida State was just way too overhyped. I mean, they had the transfer Roydale Williams from Alabama. Look, I saw the game in the beginning. They took that opening drive and they marched down and they scored that touchdown. But Georgia Tech with those long, sustainable drives. How about Haynes King? He might be the best quarterback in the ACC. And Georgia Tech defense, you don't think of Georgia Tech as a good defensive team. You think of them as a high-powered offense with the triple option of Paul Johnson. But now there's a new identity. And why not Georgia Tech? With all these recruits in the state of Georgia, going to Georgia, going to Clemson, going to Alabama, why can't Georgia Tech recruit some of the best players here in the state of Georgia?
Well, Georgia Tech also going to be, I'm telling you, they held their own against Georgia last year. What's going to happen this year now? What if they go in 10-1 or 9-2 or ACC champions? I know that's really, shooting for the moon now when we're talking about Georgia Tech. Some other things, college football-wise, this was the headliner for week 0. But next week, I mean, pretty good lineup. A&M, they're taking on Notre Dame. You got Clemson and Georgia, USC, LSU.
Florida.
Miami versus Florida. And then Auburn, they take on
Alabama
A&M. But obviously, you're just wanting to see your team and what to expect. And Cam Coleman, who's probably led all the hype for freshman sensations going into this year, regardless of the team. So college football's back, baby, and Tech getting a big win over Florida State.
Wow. I was shocked. The way we saw the 24-21, they won on a last-second field goal. It was a back-and-forth game. I thought that Florida State had an opportunity, but this was an overhyped Florida State team that I think they're going to fall in the rankings, and I would not be shocked if Georgia Tech is ranked in the new AP poll when it comes out.
We are going to talk some of the teams that we did cover on this show until we started the Unsolicited Hot Take, which is Georgia, Alabama, and Auburn. Georgia, Alabama Sports Live.
There you go.
And since we're talking Georgia Tech, we'll go to Georgia now. When I was watching the college game day today, everybody said Georgia is the prohibitive favorite to win the SEC and be national champions. I'm in agreement with them. This much talent. They also have that extra motivation, chip on their shoulder from last year, not making it into the playoff.
Right.
And they dominate everyone that was in their path. The only thing that's going to be a setback for Georgia is, and Josh Pate put out his predictions, he had Georgia not even making it to the Final Four. Right. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact they got to play at Texas. They got to play at Alabama. They got to play at Ole Miss. They got to play Auburn. They got to play Clemson. I mean, their schedule, Missouri, their schedule is incredibly tough. But if there's any team that can go through that gauntlet and be undefeated or only have one loss, it is Georgia. I think 11-1, 10-2 is more the realm where they'll be. And even with 2 losses, I still would take them over everybody else on a neutral field. What do you think about Georgia, Richard?
And can we pump the brakes first on Kirby Smart being the next Nick Saban? What Nick Saban did at Alabama, I don't think it will ever be duplicated in the history of college
He's
football.
already got 3.
He's got 3, but
before Nick Saban had his 3.
Now, Nick Saban had 6. It's a different college football, NIL, transfer portal. I think that Kirby Smart is going to be next
Kirby's
standard.
Got 2.
He's got 2. Yeah.
We talk sports. We
really do.
We cover college football.
We were handing Georgia the national championship.
They would have won it last year. That's why maybe I said that. But go ahead.
No, I think what Kirby Smart is doing, it is now the gold standard in college football. Since he's been there since 2016, I mean, Georgia has been the premier team in college football. But I don't think what Nick Saban did, I don't think it'll ever be duplicated. But this year is going to be very interesting because I think Ohio State, which, by the way, Ryan Day is on the hot seat if they lose to Michigan.
No.
But
They
Ohio
lose to
State,
Michigan, he's getting fired this year. That Harbaugh's not there. But Ohio State, I would say Texas and Oregon. Those are the
Oregon
four.
is a surprise team. A lot of people
Yeah,
think
but
Oregon.
those are the 4 teams that are coming in with the most hype
Yeah.
this year. But I agree with you. Georgia, for sure, should – I can't wait to see all these games because,
I'm
honestly,
excited.
one of the things that was Achilles' heel for Georgia in years past was they played in the SEC East. They got a weak schedule. They got the toughest schedule out of anyone, I think, in the country this year. And it's going to be a gauntlet. On the flip side, their counterpart that they've had a tough time beating, there is a new guy at the helm. It's Alabama, and it's Kalen DeBoer. I think Alabama – I think they're going to show some people and prove some people wrong.
Right.
They got an incredible recruiting class coming back next year. And I think Jalen Milroe will be a Heisman Trophy contender because Kalen DeBoer has obviously been a QB guru. As you just messed my train of thought right there. We love getting photo bombed and video bombed. Go ahead, Rick.
Oh, it happens all the time. I agree 100% that Kalen DeBoer is going to come in, and there's not going to be a whole lot of drop-off because Alabama, by the way, preseason top 5, first time since 2009. That has not happened since 2009. But Kalen DeBoer is going to get them at least to 10, 11 wins, a college football playoff contender. Jalen Milroe, a Heisman candidate.
And honestly, even if they go 9-3, they could be on the doorstep. But
I
the
agree.
9-3 season, you're going to have Alabama fans up in air. But a 10-2, 11-1, I think gets them in the playoff, and I think that eases the people in Alabama because they're still staying relevant. Because I don't think the days of being dominant like Nick Saban, those are over. But it's okay. As long as you're relevant every year, you should be happy.
Haven't lost 3 games since 2010. But I'm here to say, because we're here at Opelika, it's pretty much Auburn country up here. And so when you talk about Alabama, you know, fans kind of turn and like, oh, what'd you say about Alabama? Because you know that we know how big this rivalry is between Auburn and Alabama in this state. I think that Alabama is still going to be great. Maybe a little bit more explosive offensively. I think the defense is going to take a step back. I think what Nick Saban was, his specialty was defense. Alabama was the most dominant in college football when Nick Saban was the coach. Kirby Smart was the defensive coordinator. They kind of had, when they had Pete Golding, still a good defensive coordinator, but I just don't think Alabama's specialty is going to be defense. I just think that Kalen DeBoer is an offensive guy, and Alabama's going to be more explosive offensively.
Auburn, and I think everyone that covers them, including Mike G from the War Report, Auburn 8-4. I think this year
that'd be a good season.
Is a great season.
Yeah,
you've got another great recruiting class coming in. You're seeing the talent is elevating each and every year. I think that would be a big time season for Auburn to go 8-4, and people are going to be like 8-4. If that happens at Alabama, Auburn's at Alabama and Georgia right now, and they weren't that way either. It took them years to get better. But I think the talent that Auburn has accumulated this year specifically with Cam Coleman, I think Peyton Thorne's going to have a better offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, Ken Austin, to allow him to be successful this year. Believe me this, Auburn will be a contender and competitive in every game they play, and they may be 5-0. And if they're 5-0 and beat Oklahoma in week 5, Auburn will maybe win 8 to 9 games this year, and you're looking at a team who was looking in the mirror last year like, dang, is Hugh Freeze it? Are they building the right culture?
Oh, he's got
now,
no question.
Next year, being one of the favorites to win the SEC. I think that's where Auburn fans need to have a mindset. National championship, let's throw that out. If that happens, that's a dream come true. But if you can keep the mindset of going 8-4, being competitive in every game, and the offense is much improved, that's a win in my book.
I'm going to say something that's probably going to ruffle feathers that are Auburn fans. Brian Harsin completely just ruined this program for
I don't
2
think
years.
I don't think that ruffles anyone's feathers. I think everybody agrees with you on that.
I agree. I think what he did completely set this program back a couple of years. It took somebody like Hugh Freeze, which it was a questionable hire because what he did at Ole Miss with the allegations and everything. Hugh Freeze had to prove himself at Liberty. We know that Hugh Freeze is the right guy because we've seen what he did at Ole Miss. You give Hugh Freeze some time, he is going to get Auburn back to where they need to be, a college football playoff contender, a 10-win program. Peyton Thorne's the guy. Hugh Freeze is going to have to trust Peyton Thorne to be the guy. And they do have some younger quarterbacks like Holden Grenier that could be the quarterback of the future in the waitings. But, Peyton Thorne, for him to be successful, has got to get it to Cam Coleman. I think Cam Coleman's going to have a great year.
Great season.
Jarquez Hunter, he's taken over for Tank Bigsby. He did have some of the carries last year. He's one of the top running backs in the SEC.
Yeah.
I think that Auburn, they're going to have a good season. They're going to be competitive, and definitely 8-9 wins. That's what it's looking like.
First 5 games, Alabama A&M, California, New Mexico, Arkansas, and Oklahoma all at home.
Should
then
be 5-0.
You got 3 straight weeks of number 1 Georgia,
Oh, boy.
top 10 Missouri, at Kentucky. That's always hard. Brock Vandergrift now the quarterback there.
Yep.
Then you got Vanderbilt, Louisiana Monroe, A&M at home, and then at Alabama. Like I said, if you win those first 5 games, go 5-0, which I'm not saying they are because Oklahoma comes in top 16, but they go 5-0. They win one of the 3 games against Georgia, Missouri, and Kentucky on the road. That puts them at 6-2. Vanderbilt, Monroe makes them 8-2, and if they upset A&M, who I think is a really good team, and then play Alabama competitive, they could be 9-3 or 8-4. I think that is a huge win for Hugh Freeze and his staff. And then you beat Oklahoma, and then you beat A&M, maybe 2 ranked teams. You beat at Kentucky. You're talking about having big wins that you can use as a building block for what is the future for Auburn. But also, on the flip side, you could lose at California. Your offense can look like crap. Peyton Thorne may not be the starter anymore, and you go 6-6 again. Now you're going to start hearing those rumblings. Is Hugh Freeze it? And Hugh Freeze said he needed 5 years. But you think after year 1, 7-5, 8-4 minimum if you want an improvement, especially with the schedule being a little bit flexible and not as hard in years past.
You know what the expectations are for first-year head coaches at Auburn? Well, let's see. Gene Chizik got them to a national championship. Second year.
Yeah.
Cam Newton was mainly that. Gus Malzahn
Took him to the Natty.
Took him to the Natty. So, yeah, the expectations for Auburn fans maybe a little bit higher.
But can I tell you this, though? In every one of those years, in year 2, for Tommy Tuberville, took him to the SEC Championship in 2000. In year 2 of Gene Chizik, won a national championship. In year 1, Gus Malzahn was competitive. And in year 2, was ranked number 2 in the country before they lost to a bad A&M team in 2014, or they would have been 10-2, 9-3 that year. Should have beat Alabama. Could have made it to the SEC Championship game again. And then, obviously, Brian Harsin in year 1 was ranked in the top 10 before he pulled a Brian Harsin. So it says that in years past with these SEC with Tommy Tuberville, with Gene Chizik, with past Auburn coaches, the turnaround is usually fairly quickly. I don't know about it this year because, again, with Texas being in there, having to play Oklahoma, Georgia, Alabama, and Missouri, all 4 of those teams ranked in the top 16, and then A&M, it's going to be tough, but I think Auburn's got the talent this year, and obviously, from what I'm hearing from out of camp, Hugh Freeze thinks they can be competitive now, and they're going to turn some heads now. That's what people that are close to the program say, and that's what people inside the program say as well. Well, there's our college football takes for the 3 teams that we cover. Unsolicited hot takes going to drop Wednesday night. You're going to hear all if you got Alabama going 6-6, does Auburn win the national championship, and is Georgia going to go 7-5?
Georgia State going to upset Georgia Tech.
You're going to find it here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. It's Unsolicited Hot Take. Tomorrow we got another Georgia Alabama Sports Live show dropping tomorrow night. We are previewing this upcoming week. We're dropping our ratings, and we got some major movement from our high school football ratings poll. You're going to want to tune in to be able to see that. And the next week we got high school softball, volleyball, we got Thursday night football, and we got more football games headlined by Harris County Carver on Friday night. And then college football starts on Saturday. So get your fix in. It's finally here. Football's back. Thank you again to Glynn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Don't buy a car or truck anywhere else. Everybody here is nice. They take care of you. You don't feel like you're taken advantage of. The car buying experience makes you leave with a smile.
There you go.
And I also think that at Pepsi, because every time I'm watching a game on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, or all the people I talk to, you know what they're drinking? Pepsi products. Mountain Dew, Starry, Pepsi, Gatorade, whatever it may be. Pepsi's the place. And thank you to Buffalo Rock for being our for presenting sponsor. And finally, thank you to Zaxby's. Judson Humphreys, the Phoenix City location, proud supporter of Georgia Alabama Sports Live. I'm going to be hosting people next week for college football. I need a platter. I'm
That's
going
right.
to Zaxby's. Richard Aldridge, any final thoughts?
Great show. I'm excited about tomorrow's show. This couldn't just end any better for this weekend. And just that Georgia Tech Florida State game, that has really kicked off college football, and I can't wait. It's just going to be just
I was
great
right. So
from
if
this
you want to
point
hear
on.
someone that knows what he's talking about in college football, I predict Georgia Tech to beat Florida State. So it's one of the few things I'm right about. But I was right on that one. So
Yeah, you
tune
were.
in to Unsolicited Hot Take. All right. Y'all have a great rest of your Saturday, and we will see you tomorrow night. We got the Kudzu Sports Show at 6, Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show at 7. We'll see you next time. Good night, everyone, or good day, whatever.
Georgia, Alabama. Sports Live will be your go-to for all your favorite high school and collegiate games this fall. From the Carver Tigers to the Columbus Blue Devils, the Harris County Tigers and Northside Patriots, the Glenwood Gators and Calvary Christian Knights, the Pacelli Vikings and Brookstone Cougars, to the Smith Station Panthers and Russell County Warriors, from CVCC, Pirates basketball and baseball, and every tournament from here to Macon. We are the #1 destination for anything happening in East Alabama and West Central Georgia. Be sure to like and follow us on YouTube and Facebook, and stay tuned for even more amazing ways we will be bringing Georgia Alabama Sports Live to you this upcoming season. We can't wait to come see you next.